What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show. We discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and daily news. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below right now. It's free to do so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below as well. We got a lot to talk about here today. Russia is attacking a major nuclear plant in Ukraine, which could cause a nuclear meltdown larger than Chernobyl. That's right, and it's already on fire. I know, you can't make this stuff up. And a major announcement from the Fed here in the United States and what this is going to mean for us going forward. We got a lot to talk about here, so let's jump right in. So yeah, if you think the attack from Russian President Putin couldn't get any lower, well, you'd probably be wrong. They're now attacking a nuclear power plant, which could cause a meltdown larger than Chernobyl. And it's just like, can they stoop any lower?
This on your screen right now is a live video from a nuclear plant in Ukraine in a city called Enerhodar. It is not only the largest nuclear plant in Ukraine, but let's be clear, it is actually the largest nuclear plant in all of Europe. And according to Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, tonight, Russia, right now, is firing on all sides of that nuclear power plant in Enerhodar. The mayor of the city says that the plant is currently on fire. This video was caught on the security camera earlier this evening, appearing to show some kind of projectile being fired at the plant. The International Atomic Energy Agency, which, as you know, works to promote safe use of nuclear power around the world, says that they are aware of reports of the shelling outside this plant that is taking place in Ukraine. They say they are in contact with Ukrainian authorities about this situation. Now, we actually talked about this plant last night because yesterday, you may recall, hundreds of the plant workers and people from the nearby city who live around it, they actually formed kind of a human shield in the road leading up to the nuclear power plant. Russia, as we have noted throughout this program and others, has already seized the site of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And the fear is that Russia will try to seize other active nuclear power plants in Ukraine, which supply most of the nation's electricity. And so the people who live around this particular plant yesterday tried to block access to it, tried to stop Russia from having an easy time from taking it over. Tonight, according to Ukrainian officials, Russia is firing on all sides of this power plant. Again, you're looking at a live video that is being broadcast by the plant. And I should note that this is the middle of the night in Ukraine. And the number of people watching this static, grainy, black and white security camera feed of a nuclear power plant, it's not exactly must-see TV right now. But right now, in this very moment, thousands of people are doing just that out of fear of what could happen next, because the potential for a catastrophe here is just unparalleled. It is one thing for Russia to seize energy production in Ukraine, to cut off electricity, to kind of put the cities under blackout, but doing it by force, doing it with live ammunition is just unfathomably dangerous. Like I said, officials say the plant is already on fire, and a fire alone can affect the plant's cooling system, causing the reactors to overheat and melt down, which is what happened in Japan at Fukushima back in 2011. And it's, in some ways, its own kind of slow-moving nuclear disaster. And then, of course, with fire and meltdowns come the potential explosion. More than 50,000 people live in the city around this nuclear plant. It is about 250 miles from Ukraine's second largest city, a little over 400 miles from Kyiv. And if we learned anything from the Chernobyl disaster, radioactive nuclear waste can travel far, it can travel fast in an explosion. The Ukrainian foreign minister saying this tonight: Russians must immediately cease the fire and allow firefighters to establish a security zone. If the plant blows up, It will be 10 times larger than Chernobyl.
Also, here is some other footage here taken during the day, even worse. Check this out.
Well, continuing to watch developments out of Eastern Europe, some new images coming out of Ukraine where Russian forces are battling for control of a key energy producing city in the south. This explosion that you're watching happened just outside of the city, which is the home of the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Video released yesterday showed massive crowds of residents blocking the city's entrance to prevent Russian troops from gaining access, waving flags, as you can see there in the middle of the road. They rallied around barricades of cars, trucks, and sandbags along the way.
So you've seen that smoke, and we know that it's on fire. The question is, are we going to have a meltdown? Is it going to get to that point? Are we going to have a Chernobyl 2.0? You heard them say that this is a larger reactor, and this could be potentially 10 times worse than Chernobyl, which we know how bad that was. It's still, and remember that the Russians actually have control of the Chernobyl site right now. Kind of makes you wonder how low they're willing to stoop at this point. Is there a limit to how low they're willing to go? Uh, why are they even attacking a nuclear reactor when they know the risk of this? Um, it's sick. It's very sad. I don't even have words for it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, the head of the Fed, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says that we should have moved earlier to lower inflation, thereby meaning to raise interest rates. So remember that one of the main tools to reduce interest rates is to reduce inflation is to raise interest rates. It's just kind of the way things work is when inflation starts to get out of control, you raise interest rates and it helps curb inflation back down. In fact, banks all around the world are doing this. In fact, U.S. is actually one of the last banks to do this. Hence, Fed head Jerome Powell saying that. In fact, Russia actually just did this massively because of how bad their dollar is tanking because of the sanctions, the war, and their stock market crumbling. They actually boosted their interest rates from 9.5%, which is actually dramatically higher to begin with than what we have here in our country. Our interest rates for what the Fed is raising is actually near zero. Theirs was at 9.5%. They just raised theirs to 20%. 20%. Imagine if you paid 20% interest on your home loan. That'd be like buying a home on your credit card. Yeah, home loans right now are around 4%. Just recently used to be able to get them around 3%, depending on the type of loan you went for. 30-year mortgage, 5/1 ARM. They have different type of mortgages, right? But imagine if you had to pay a 20% mortgage. In fact, if you've lived around long enough, way back in the day when inflation was really, really high, maybe 50 or so years ago, home mortgages were that high. So we don't want to ever go back there again. But Russia's there right now, so inflation could be a lot worse. Russia's economy is literally collapsing by the day, but they seem to think that pushing forward with the invasion of Ukraine will solve all their problems. Honestly, even if they take over Ukraine, are they even going to be able to hold Ukraine? I mean, Ukraine has 45 million people. Now, a million people have fled, mostly women and children, but I don't even know if they would be able to hold it. I think they're just in way over their heads, way too deep. I didn't think that they I don't think they thought it would be anywhere near this, that the sanctions would be anywhere near this, that the world would unite anywhere near this, and I don't think they know what to do at this point. And Putin doesn't want to be seen as a loser or lose this. Who knows what's going to happen at this point? So, Federal Reserve Chairman said yesterday that the central bank, the Fed, should have acted sooner to pull back on its stimulus, which is a different type of stimulus. It's bond buying. Okay, it's not the stimulus that you and I talk about much, or that we talk about here on this channel. It's bond buying. Okay, it's pumping money into the economy, which they're still doing. They're still buying bonds, billions of dollars per month, to get ahead, to pump money into the economy per se. They're still doing that. Okay, they're still doing that, and this will be the last month that they do it. Federal Reserve Chairman told the Senate Banking Committee that with prices increasing at the fastest clip since 1982, easy money policies from the Fed, buying these billions of dollars of bonds, combined with longer than expected supply chain snags, appear to be behind inflation. And maybe they shouldn't be buying billions and billions and billions of dollars in bonds. And now they're going to stop that and start hiking interest rates. However, they're not going to be raising interest rates to 20% like Russia, thankfully. Can you imagine if they did? Imagine if your home loan went to 20%. Oh my God, your payments, if your payments were $1,000 a month, they would like I don't even know, but they would like quadruple. Um, we've seen that story of that just like a few days ago. We seen that story of that student loan. It was just a kid who was paying on his student loans for 5 years, and he had paid like $62,000. And out of the $62,000 he had paid on his student loans for 5 years, only $2,000 of the $62,000 had went to principal. And that's with student loans. I mean, again, interest rates are still low. I mean, on student loans, I don't know what your average interest rate might be. I don't know, 5, 6, 7%, right? It's but imagine if they were 20%, right? Um, 4 or 5 times higher, right? So imagine if they were 4, 5, 6, 7 times higher, it would be you would never pay anything off, right? Well, that's what Russia's going to be dealing with. It's just it would be a nightmare. The Fed says hindsight, we should have moved earlier to stop bond buying and to start raising interest rates. We're going to use our tools and we're going to get this done. When inflation began popping in early 2021, we thought it was just transitory and hoped that supply chains would alleviate and slowly further price increases. But Powell now says higher demand from depressed borrowing costs do appear to be behind inflation, placing the responsibility on the Fed to raise interest rates from the near zero levels it has maintained since the onset of the pandemic. Most of the time, when you buy like a home mortgage, a lot of times you'll pay like prime plus 3% or 4%. Prime's near zero. The bank to bank lending is at 0 or 0.25, something like that. Well, here's how the Fed is going to be raising interest rates. Powell told the House Finance Service Committee Wednesday that the central bank will almost certainly raise interest rates for the first time since 2019. So 3 years. So it's not like they don't ever do this. They just haven't done this in 3 years. They've actually been lowering interest rates since then. And again, it just depends on what the economy is doing, whether it's good or bad to lower interest rates. But lifting off the near zero interest rates is only the beginning of the battle. They're going to be raising interest rates about 0.25%, a quarter of a percent. They're probably going to do this a couple different times. And they estimate that the Fed is projecting the economy can withstand short-term interest rates between 2% and 2.5% before policies can be considered restrictive. So they're going to be raising interest rates, but it's not going to be 20%, that they said that short-term interest rates can be between 2% and 2.5%, and they're going to be raising interest rates about a quarter of a percent here, one step at a time. Quote, I think it's going to take the Fed a long time to get this right-sized. Tengler, they said, Yahoo Finance, that they expect the Fed to raise interest rates 3 or 4 times this year for maybe a total of 0.75% or maybe a total of 1% this year. Now that'll help curb inflation, bring inflation down, bring the price of gas down, bring the price of groceries down, bring the price of everything down. But remember, a lot of this has to do with other things. Like we had the White House recently announced that 1/3 of inflation was because of car prices. Okay. If you're not buying a new car right now, that doesn't affect you. But if you are buying a car or even a used car, if you're buying a used car, even that affects you, because right now, if you go to buy a used car and it's $5,000 more, $3,000 more, that affects you. Okay. And a lot of this is because the new cars are more. And the new cars are more because of the chip shortage. Okay. New cars are literally being delivered without chips, computer chips in them, because they have computer chips. There's a massive shortage by the millions, okay? That's why they're creating new computer chip companies here in the United States. In fact, one's going to be in Columbus, Ohio, made in America, thankfully, because there's only a few companies overseas that make them, and just this whole supply chain shortages is just has all been exacerbated because of the pandemic, and the United States is realizing, these very important things that kind of run our country, we can't be limited, because what if China or these other countries, what if they decide to not supply these to us anymore? What if we get into a fight, even if it's not a physical fight, what if it's just like a riff where, we're in a trade war with China or something, and they say, you know what, we're not going to supply those to you anymore. And all of a sudden, we can't make new cars anymore. We can't make new laptops anymore. We can't make new phones anymore. Okay, this is just one example. Look at the oil issue with Russia right now. Okay, Russia supplies 8% of our oil, and the price of gas is going up, right? That's affecting inflation. I don't know the exact amount of oil or gas that goes into the inflation reading. Like if that if gas and oil goes up, if that affected 20% of our inflation or 30% of our inflation. I don't know what the actual figures are that gas affects us, but gas is a huge amount, because gas kind of affects everything, because everything has to be shipped to stores as well. Um, but gas and oil has just been going up, 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 just because of the conflict of Russia. And we haven't even really seen, like, we have lawmakers and millions of Americans saying we shouldn't even be buying oil from Russia. So imagine if we do decide that we're not going to buy from Russia anymore. They only supply 8% of our oil. Some people say that's a lot. Some people say that's a little. It's not that much. It's 8%. It's a lot. It's a little. I don't know. You can, decide if that's a lot or a little. 8% is 8%. But if we did stop buying from them cold turkey, which we may do, may have to do, we may decide to do, that'll cause the price of oil and gas to go up here in the U.S. But we send 38% of our oil overseas. We sell it overseas because these gas companies, Exxon, Chevron, BP, they decide that they want to sell it. Okay. And we're the number one producer of oil and gas in the world. Russia's number two. We're number one. So we make enough oil to be energy independent. It's just that these gas companies sell it. So we have the policies and the oil and the gas to be energy independent, but we just kind of need to make some shifts, some policies. We need to make more in America, but we also got to make things efficient, because wages are going up. $15 an hour minimum wage. Other company. Let's be real. Other countries make things for cheaper, but they have to ship it over here too. And the price of oil and the price of gas is making shipping more expensive and the time to do it. So when we make things here in the US, we have to make them efficiently. Okay. So all this is kind of factored into everything. But when the supply chain crisis happened in the US, then, you know, it's much better to have them here in the U.S. because if these countries don't give it to us or they take forever to make it, and all of a sudden, automobiles are skyrocketing in price because we don't have computer chips, or Russia won't give us oil, or there's a problem with Russia giving us oil, and the price of oil and gas goes skyrocketing. Well, if we didn't need Russia for oil, or if we didn't need other countries for computer chips to begin with, then the prices of these things wouldn't even skyrocket to begin with, right? So now it kind of makes sense that, maybe we should be making more things in America. And yeah, maybe it costs a little bit more to begin with because maybe our labor's, people's salaries and people's hourly wages are more. But in the long run, we don't have to worry about these supply chains and Russia, paying Russia for oil, paying these other countries for computer chips, and having these supply chain issues because it's made in America. And over time, it'll become more efficient and we'll be reliant on just ourselves. Yeah, and this is all part of the next stimulus package, what probably going to be called Made in America as well. And it's long overdue. It's long overdue. So let me know your thoughts here. Bringing more jobs back home instead of to China and to Russia, and more people having jobs here, well-paying jobs. It's long overdue. So let me know your thoughts. Bringing inflation down, it's a big thing here in the United States. We actually have states actually sending out anti-inflation stimulus checks now. I just did a video on that. If you didn't see that, I'll link it to that video here in a moment. And hopefully we're going to see more states doing that here as well. So I'll link it to that video. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss any new videos. I'll keep you up to date. Subscribing is completely free to do so. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see my video on anti-inflation stimulus checks that some states are already sending out. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.